64th webinar of our Saturday webinar series hosted by Managed Center for Innovation and Agripreneurship. Myself, Dr. Rahalya, I'm working as a Managed Fellow, and it is my pleasure to be your host for today's session. So before going to the session, I would like to give a short introduction about our center. So since its inception in October 2020, MANECIA has been a torchbearer of agriculture innovation and entrepreneurship in India. For the past few years, we have proudly hosted 263 consecutive weekly webinars, connecting with over 50,000 participants and engaging more than 500 eminent speakers from across the agri-startup ecosystem. Each session has been a step forward in building stronger, smarter, and more self-reliant agricultural enterprise landscape. As a center of excellence in agribusiness incubation under the National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management, our mission has been to nurture innovation, empower agripreneurs, and accelerate rural transformation. Through our incubation programs, we have supported over 1,100 entrepreneurs and 562 agri-startups spanning diverse sectors: agri-tech, food processing, animal husbandry, dairy, fisheries, national farming, farm mechanization, and agri-input innovations. What truly defines MANECIA is our 360-degree support system, from ideation and business mentoring to market linkage, technology validation, branding, funding facilitation. Our goal is simple yet profound: to turn every idea into an impactful agri-enterprises that strengthens livelihood or enhance the sustainability of agriculture systems. Today's session adds another meaningful chapter to this journey. The theme is Export-Oriented Agro-Processing Strategies and Opportunities, focusing on one of the most vital areas of agri-startup ecosystem and how to enhance the profitability through innovation, efficiency, and sustainability. So we are truly honored to have with us eminent speakers who will share their knowledge and experiences that promise to inspire every participant here today. So this perspective will open new dimensions of thought and actions in the agri-startup ecosystem. So once again, I extend a heart welcome to all the participants joining us from across the country. Let's make this session another step forward in shaping the agri-startup ecosystem. So without delay, I would like to start the session. To introduce our first speaker, I would like to call our managing intern, Bharat.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I am Bharat Sevri from Team Manage CIA. It is my honor to welcome and invite our first speaker for today's session, Ms. Tamanna Chaturvedi. She holds a postgraduate degree from GB Pant University of Agriculture and Technology and is well known for work in connecting institutions with business and startup growth. Ma'am has over 20 years of experience in areas like investment promotion, public policy, and business strategy. She has also held senior positions such as Deputy Secretary General at April Export Promotion Council and most recently served as a Vice President at Invest India. Her work covers a wide range of fields including education, trade, export support, and investment planning. With this brief introduction, now I warmly invite Ms. Tamanna ma'am to take over this session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Bharat. Thank you, Manage. Thank you for organizing this and inviting us at a short notice. The topic of the session aligns very well with the objective that we have discussed yesterday in this context. And I'm happy to see a lot of startups here who will align with the objective of Government of India that we are trying to operate. Now, recently there has been a very great initiative that has been taken by APIDA, which is an Agricultural Process Export Development Authority and the Ministry of Commerce. Their generic role of APIDA is to help Indian companies take their products to the global market. APIDA has been doing this since ages. So the reason why I'm talking about APIDA and the initiative by new APIDA initiative of Bharati in the name of, it's an accelerated program for young entrepreneurs and startups. The way we are trying to define the two things and aligning with the topic of the session today is that APIDA is having scheduled list of products which we will share with all of you. In case you have a very traditional product, please go ahead with APIDA and they will help you to connect with global market. But in case you have any innovative product categories, which is a high value added product, we have a new initiative in the name of Bharati, where we are trying to connect with startups like you who must have curated a very innovative product. You're already at the investment stage, you're already working at reached a level where we can help you to scale up, nurture you, connect with the international retail chains and utilize a lot of efforts that government is putting to promote. See, one of the biggest challenge that India is facing right now, that I'll share through my presentation, is that we have so many incubation centers under the domain of agriculture and allied activities, which also includes spices, which also includes marine, which also includes cotton and so on. But when it comes to agricultural export, the world is taking advantage of the nurturing of these incubation centers. How is it happening? Like if I'm doing an efficient startup, say I'm doing an agricultural startup to connect with plant diseases, like ma'am, I've created an app, immediately we get to know what are the diseases of the plant. So I'm working on a greenhouse technology. I've worked on a drone technology. I've worked on logistics technology. So what we are doing currently as an incubation center, friends, is that we are working on the supply side strengthening. The challenge is that if I'm selling a mango which is creating an X value of export market, but can my incubation center also curate a product where I have multiple value added products that comes which is akin to the taste of the consumer sitting across the market. So we are exporting a very low value product, and that is the reason we are surprised. I was an agricultural student myself. I've just been introduced. I myself come from an agricultural college where when I was a student 25 years back, our teachers used to tell us India has an export of 2% in the global market. When I'm a faculty for last 30 years, I still hear the same slide that India is 2.5% of the global trade market. So where is my incubation efforts going? Where is my agricultural productivity growing? Where are the exports not working out despite having a lot of production potential that we have? So we now, you the baton is in your hands as young entrepreneur. We need to tell the world that India will not be a primary exporter at all the way. We need to work out together on high value products. If China can do it, if Thailand can do it, if startups sitting in a smaller country like Vietnam can come out with innovative product categories, why can't my young entrepreneur actually come out and use this Bharati initiative of APIDA to help you? And there is a full-fledged administrative setup that Bharati is curating to help all these startups to venture into the agro-processing products to be taken in the international market. And the price difference is huge. If you're selling a 10 rupee product in India, you can actually gain a 500 rupee gain in the international market. So there's a lot of carrot that is involved, but at the same time, there's a lot of limitations. We also appreciate that an innovative product category, you will always have a risk, ma'am. If buyer doesn't like it, my entire effort will go waste. If the taste is not akin, my entire effort will go waste. If investments are not there, what is the kind of government support to cater to all these apprehensions of startups to venture into export market? This initiative is actually taking care of all the insecurities that a startup would have. We'll talk about the risk management. We'll train you on a lot of procedural issues. We'll train you on branding. We'll train you on a lot of these efforts that a startup in silos may not be. So, Dr. Sarvanan, we are actually trying to connect with all the incubation centers with an objective that wherever your role will finish, our role will start. So you have incubated these startups. You have promoted a new product in your incubation center. Now our role starts that if the product has reached an MVP, we actually make them investor ready. We make them export ready, and we connect them to global market after ensuring that the candidates are now ready to be exposed to the global market. So that's the beautiful context that we have set up. We will need your support to help us connect with startups who are working in different space. I'll quickly share uh, what are we looking at so that our objective is very, very clear. Now, if you see that you're working on agro-processing and value addition, this is extremely important topic, friends, because when I look forward for creating a value-added product that I'm selling in the domestic market, and I want to I want to push that brand from domestic market to international market, I actually have to be very cautious of multiple factors. The way I'm selling a product to a Indian customer is very different than the way I'm trying to pitch it to the Japanese customer, or I'm trying to sell it to the US customer. And that is extremely, the switch from primary to process is extremely important because of a very fact that it's the government of India has offered APIDA, which is actually the parent of the Bharati, is primarily to reach by 2030 50 US dollar billion market. And that will only come from the processed food category for a simple reason that if primary products would be doing good, then despite the production potential that we have in India, you see any product that you name, we are the largest producing milk country, we are the second largest fruits and vegetable product producers in the world. Fisheries is one of the wonderful coastline that we have. So we are one of the largest producer of marine products in the world. You name a product, you have tea, you have cattle population, sugar, food grains. So every product, if we have enough production, when you see the major export products that India does, our major chunk of export earnings that comes under APIDA is primarily 24% is only coming from basmati rice. Don't you think we need to expand this basket further and reduce the kind of focus and concentration that we have on only one product? Tomorrow, if the international consumers stop consuming rice, my agricultural export will be hit big time. My 14% comes from the seafood and the marine product category. 8.6% come from spices, and the second APIDA product that is actually 8% is bovine meat. So India is doing excellently well in bovine meat. We are doing excellently well in rice. But what are these 2 to 3 product categories? Are they sufficient enough to pull my exports to 50 US billion dollar by 2030? Absolutely not, because when you see our ranks in the international market, 24% coming from rice, but we are still 14th rank in total cereal exporters in the world. Edible vegetable, second largest producer of vegetables in the world, we are 17th in export. Meat, largest producer of meat in the world, we are 24th in export. Now you all must be wondering that if India is a producer of agricultural product, and the incubation centers across the country funded under RAFTAAR scheme, Ministry of Agriculture, everybody is contributing towards the first part of this table, which is making production oriented economy. But if I have to actually ensure it as an export oriented status, I need to understand that from this side of the column of production to that side of the column of export, what is lacking and what more our incubation centers with support of Bharati can achieve to actually make a situation like coffee, where we are 5th in production, 5th in exports. So countries like Poland, if you see on the left hand side, countries like Poland from 17th position in 2016, they have come to 11th position as a global exporter of agricultural produce. So where are we going wrong, and why is India stagnant, is where our thought should actually align, and incubation centers should start working on core issues, from moving away from supply side strengthening to demand oriented production. Number one, we do not have dearth of production. As I said, we have so many agroclimatic zones in India. We are one of the largest producer of fruits and vegetables. As I said, where mangoes and grapes and bananas of the world, India is one of the largest producing country, right? We also have geographical indication. We have Lendrin bananas, we have Alfonso mangoes from India. But where are we going wrong? One is, by the time I reach the markets of a country like US, I lose my price competitiveness. You see here, $6,462 per ton is a price at which Alfonso mango reaches the US market, and we don't have import duties attached to this so far. So if the new Trump government has come out with 50% tariff, the 6,462 plus 50% of tariff Can you imagine, even if a consumer wants to eat my mangoes, they cannot afford my mangoes. So where are we going wrong? One way to achieve is I leave the US market. But the other way to also sustain the markets of US is, can I bring down a high price that I have against a Thai mango or a Brazilian mango to as much as possible through my supports of incubation centers and activities? Yes, we can do that. Why? Because the damage lies right at the farm. The damage lies right at the domestic level. It has nothing to do with international shipments, because the logistic cost of taking a Thai mango is equivalent to the logistic cost of an Indian mango. So if I can control, so any one of you who can help APIDA to actually work on post-harvest losses, which is 30% of my production as compared to a Philippine mango or or Latin American countries, which is 5 to 10% of the post-harvest losses. Same, Maharashtra is full of grapes. We have a lot of potential for Thompson seedless grapes, where UK is one of the great market that India has been exporting. 25%, one-fourth of my grapes are lost at the farm level. So by the time I reach the port, obviously my price will get lost. So even in the primary food category, if state agricultural universities and organizations like Manage can help APIDA Bharati initiative by giving us ideation on some startup working on post-harvest losses, I think this is one of the best way you can help the country convert the ranks from production to export. The story doesn't stop here. If I'm working on price, I need a startup who can actually work parallelly on the second most important category, that by the time I reach the port of the US and the European market, you see a small country like Turkey has started rejecting the Indian wheat consignment because of the SPS barrier, which is your sanitary and phytosanitary condition. The Indian non-basmati rice, which is my 24% of my export basket, despite having all the certifications, have been detained. The US FDA has actually given the entire plethora. All of you must be working, and that's the reason I said a startup working with Manage may be excited about a value added innovation he must have done. But he may be launching a product right now with support from Manage in the domestic market. When you connect with APIDA, we'll tell you that if you want to promote it to the international market, what are the pros and cons of it? Are you ready, first of all? Number one. Number two, what are the certifications that you have? What are the packaging do you have? At what price are you, can you pitch your product? So we are trying to look forward for technically the list of non-tariff barriers which can hamper your custom clearance in the international market. So that's the second type or second challenge that we are facing as an agricultural exporters of the value added product, is the non-tariff barriers that we are facing in most of the developed country markets that we are targeting for. And here again, one is our training to help startups of innovative products of Manage to train them for international market. The second opportunity that I'm giving to all of you is, can any startup help me resolve the non-tariff barrier issues that India is having? And I have the list of SPS concerns that APIDA is facing. We are looking for solutions from startups for solving for exports of these product categories. The third, there are many contemporary issues that are coming up in the market. For example, the European Union has started asking that I am a marketing manager of tomato Viva sauce. I have created an innovative product, say something out of millets or fox nuts or something that is as a sausage or something. But does the packaging of my sausages have a complete traceability chain? Who is the farmer? Who is the kacha artiya? Who is the pakka artiya? And finally, who is the processor? The entire list have to be there on the packaging. Otherwise, the buyer in the wall, sitting in the Walmart stores or the British Retailer Consortium, are not going to accept your product. So we need startups. Japan has come out with a beautiful technology where they have a database management system and they use RFID tags to trace to the, if there are people and there are companies in the world doing that, We are looking forward for training sessions from these companies and success stories globally as a part of the Bharati program. But we also need startups who can curate such traceability systems. Enough of creating drones for soil science and this. These are new things that we want startups to operate on, where the traceability becomes one of the biggest challenge when I'm helping my domestic companies to go abroad. Fourth major issue is I may be the rice, a great variety of rice. We heard in few sessions before. They said, "Ma'am, I'm coming from Chhattisgarh. There's this beautiful kind of rice that we have. Northeast has black rice, purple rice, jasmine rice." So one part of the story is I'm curating a new variety of rice, which is extremely great for the international market. You'll fetch great prices. It's a great concept. It's a great branding. But your brand will fizzle out the minute your buyers start asking how much water has you consumed in manufacturing this rice against a Vietnamese rice, where they are consuming 1/5 the water that Indian rices are having. So we need startups who can help work out on water footprint and and start using it as a brand strategy, where the water footprints not only across rice is just an example to tell you what is the difference between what China is using hydrophobic techniques. Thailand has come out with a lot of aquaphobic techniques, and Vietnam. So this is just an example of rice, but we are falling short. I'll give you an example. Dabur company, such a great company, guys. They are procuring, roses to manufacture their Dabur Gulabri. All of us are using Dabur Gulab Jal and Gulabri. They're losing their international hold in the market only and only because their competition is coming from China, who is using one less than 1/6 of the water that the Indian roses in Jammu Kashmir are using it. So these are concerns about climatic concerns in the international market. So Foot Miles is another agri startup that we are looking at. Suppose I am manufacturing a product and my factory is in a landlocked district of Hyderabad, and you are a landlocked. You need to reach the seaport. Now you have an option to go to the Mundra port or the JNPT port or a Vizag port, but your consumers are looking forward. How much miles have your product moved before reaching from your factory to their factory? This concept is gearing up in the market out of the environmental compliances that are coming up. So there are startups which have started working on a linear programming model where transportation optimization models have been created just to help an exporter understand the shortest route between his factory to the buyer's factory. These are challenges we are expecting from the startups, from an agri-tech domain startup. The other innovations that are there in the primary product category is primarily your competing country, small country like Vietnam, has come out with seedless lychees. So imagine a company who is buying lychees from India, who are basically for the processed food category in terms of creating them into lychee juices. But if you have a competing country with innovations like seedless lychee, of course, the buyer will take a second to leave India and start operating with your competing country. We can share during the mentoring session a lot of such value addition concepts. But before value addition, one of the biggest value addition is, can I actually start innovating even in the primary food category? Coming to the processed food category, you'll realize 3 trillion is what we're expecting by 2034 is the market that that the processed food will have in the globally. And the India's current status is, if you see such a sad state of affairs, unfortunately, our 75% of my agri exports are only coming from primary product, and 25 is coming from the processed food category. We are concentrating, as you can see, same products for years together. Same basmati rice, same shrimps, same buffalo meat, same turmerics of the world, and Alfonso mangoes, grapes, and bananas. Very low value realization. Processed food categories, you have a lot of opportunities. We have few brands which have come up from some ready to eat category, some coffees and Nestle's and beverages, confectionery. Paperboat is a good example of a startup in a processed category. But again, we are saying the level of processing actually is only 2 to 10% as compared to 60% in your competing country. And that is why this particular session from Manage is a very beautiful topic to encourage understand the high value products. So the opportunities that you all can have, and I've also mapped some export destinations who are ready to buy all these products from you. And APIDA would help the Bharati candidates to, once you're ready with your product, to connect you with the international market. You can cook ready to cook mixes. Gluten free is something that bakery products are coming up in the market big time. Millet snacks are coming up in the market big time, where Australia is a great market for your millet based product. Middle East is a great market for you. For your IQF products, if you can curate dehydrated vegetables, dehydrated fruits, for desert countries which cannot have, they need to have more shelf life because the desert countries cannot produce fruits and vegetables on their own. Dairy and livestock, entire Southeast Asian countries are looking forward for infant formula. Will help you work out with a demographic profiling, which countries are having more birth rates, where your birth rates are high, so that the role of infant foods will very high. So that demographic analysis and how to pitch your product, how to identify product, how to identify the right market for your product will be a very core part of the mentoring process of Bharati. Within spices and condiments, nutraceutical is coming up. Amway Jesse companies, they are buying big time organic spices from Sikkim and turmeric and neem from here, moringa powder from India. They're making nutraceuticals and putting up a seal of US FDA. Their credibility is selling, but the raw material is India. So India has been pushing companies like Amway and all these big companies in US to write in their packaging that the raw material was sourced from India. Therefore, in long run, India can think of venturing into nutraceutical extracts ourselves. But there are other councils like Chef Excel and all. There are line ministries that Bharati will help you connect. Not everything is a PIDA scheduled product. So this program is primarily meant for APIDA scheduled product, but this is just to showcase about what is the possibility of and the great market that are available for operating in a processed food category. There are options for plant-based and functional food in terms of vegan proteins. Then again, you have the certified halal certified meat products, where the certification is extremely important for the GCC countries. So the sky is the limit of the opportunity. If you look into interesting startups that probably amongst you may come in, not if you're not ready in this program. This program of Bharati will keep working in every 6 months time or 8 months time. So you can come in the next program of Bharati, but see what is happening in the world. India is the largest bovine meat producers of the world. But the byproduct of fishes industry and the byproduct of meat industry is primarily working on a pet food. India is missing on an opportunity of a 44 billion US dollar only and only of the pet food category. So the world the consumers across the world are looking forward for importing pet food category for a simple reason, because every household now has a pet for some reason or the other. If you're exporting primary millets versus the biscuits and pastas out of it, we have an opportunity of almost 22 billion export market for only these product categories. So obviously, Sikkim used to export a lot of ginger, but can you imagine a ginger paste alone has got a 14 billion market. So there are a lot of opportunities in categories that we are talking about, and we need to think and introspect that a country which is exporting rice for ages, the same country is importer of rice based value products. These are the snapshots that I'm showing you out of Amazon, where on Amazon you will find a 558 rupees of a rice noodles that we are importing from Thailand. So a country like India sitting with rice exporter And we are importing the rice-based value-added products. Rice cake, 399 from Korea. You have Thai rice chips sold at 275. We have gluten rice flavor again coming from Korea, 380 bucks. Japanese. So you name these rice competing countries, they are pushing their value added products. Where are my value added products being pushed to the world? And that's what is the Bharati all about. So there are multiple examples, and this is what Bharati is quickly. So the key objective is we are looking for startups in 3 specific domain. Number 1, we are looking for startups in a very high value innovated product category which has reached beyond the ideation stage. If not commercialized, at least the MVP stage. We will ensure to help you nurture, mentor, and take you to the global market. We are looking for some agri tech based startups who can work on blockchain technology for traceability, some IoT-enabled supply chain, some anything related to forex tools because currency risks are involved. So agri-fintech, and of course some technology solutions for risk mitigation solutions and the cold chain, packaging technologies, C protocols, post-harvest, any technology that can work out to for agri export facilitation. And finally, we are looking forward for researchers, even at the ideation stage, who can help me resolve the following: the quality challenges and the non-tariff barrier that India is facing. So these are the 3 categories: high value products, agri-tech solutions for trade facilitation, and solution to SPS TBT issues. If your idea or the managed incubators are falling in any of these 3 categories, you're please welcome to join the Bharati and apply to Bharati program. I have a next speaker, Mr. Zubin, who will explain not everybody who applies will get through. So there's an eligibility criteria, there's a strict screening committee that is involved, and the first screening criteria will be your ideation should fall in any of the APIDA scheduled products. You can take a screenshot. It is also there on Bharati website. Any product that goes beyond this list will not be entertained. No herbal teas and coffees and so anything that comes in any of the domain that you're seeing here, we are more than happy to nurture you. These are the specific challenges that APIDA has identified. If somebody out of you can help us resolve the aflatoxin in groundnuts, foot and mouth diseases in buffalo, brucellus in dairy products, any of the ones that you're seeing here and the next slide here, this list is available on Bharati website. We'll be happy to work with you even at the ideation stage for the third part, which is SPS and TBT. So these are what are the benefits that you are going to get. Number 1, we are going to give you a one-stop solution for all the needs to go to the export market. Any kind of knowledge, insight, any kind of exposure visits, collaboration with retail stores in the international market, any brand promotion, market enhancement, investor ready. We don't assure you that you will get the investment, but we will certainly train you and make you investor ready, and also give you an opportunity to present as an hackathon in front of an investor to take you to the next level. And of course, market linkages goes without saying. So these are the benefits that we are offering you. These are the nitty-gritties of the program that Zubin can explain and take it forward from here. Over to you, Mr. Zubin.
Thank you, ma'am, for the highly informative session on agro-processing and value additions. So your session provided deep insights into the export potential of India agro-processing sector, the strategies to enhance the value addition, and the global market opportunities available for the agri entrepreneurs. So the way you explained the various innovation and the practical insights to build export competency was extremely valuable. Thank you once again for sharing your expertise and inspiring our participants to think globally about the agro-based enterprises. And before going to the second speaker presentation, I would like to give you updates for the participant. So the Manage SIA Cohort 14 applications are open. So interested entrepreneurs, startups, you can apply for it and get a funding up to 25 lakhs. The registration link is given in the chat box and you can apply for it. Along with this, as we have launched the Managed Fish Hub Incubation Center, we have opened the application for the Managed Aqua Eureka, which is a national level aqua innovation business challenge open to support budding aquapreneurs to present their innovative idea. And along with this application for the Managed Fish Hub incubation program also open. So interested participants and aquapreneurs, you can apply and get your funding. The registration link is also shared in the chat box. Now to introduce our second speaker, I would like to call our managing intern Inshika.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ishika Gautam from Team Manage CIA. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Jubin Mishra, an accomplished business advisor, strategy consultant, and startup mentor with over 2 decades of diverse experience across multiple industries. Mr. Mishra is a consultant at Bharti Apeda and associated with Blue Helion Partners, where he works closely with technology and business service companies to scale and grow their ventures. He brings deep expertise in business strategy, M&A, investment partnerships, leadership coaching, and organizational transformation, helping companies achieve sustainable growth and competitive advantage. An alumnus of Sambalpur University, IIM Bangalore, and the National Law University, Mr. Mishra's educational background reflects his passion for both management and law. Throughout his career, he has collaborated with renowned global organizations such as Accenture, HSBC, LG Group, Sony, and News Corp, and contributed significantly to India's venture ecosystem through his work with Avishkar Capital and 10x2. Beyond his corporate journey, Mr. Mishra is deeply committed to mentoring and entrepreneurs and nurturing the next generation of business leaders. He is a leadership and life coach, social impact consultant, and the author of an Amazon best-selling book on entrepreneurship. His thought, leadership, and insights continue to inspire professionals and startups alike. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jubin Mishra, a visionary leader and a growth strategist who continues to shape India's entrepreneurial and business landscape. Over to you, sir.
Sir, you're in mute, sir. Kindly unmute yourself.
For some reason, kind welcome and setting the introduction, and thank you, Dr. Tamanna, for helping define the agenda for the meeting in some ways. So as she rightly said, our discussion today with all of you is an extension of our nationwide orientation that we did for all state agriculture universities under the aegis of PIDA. And given we have 20 minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a little more detailed on the initiative that Dr. Tamanna just spoke about and possibly help you get a clarity. I think the fundamental need for the APIDA's Bharati initiative was very well led by Dr. Tamanna. She brought in the market context, she brought in the context of export and what are the challenges we are building in export. And fundamentally, I think what she was trying to say is that we are all in the process of building a collaborative ecosystem to support India's growth agenda and export agenda. So what the your great institution Manage is trying to do in terms of building the incubation and acceleration efforts, supporting new ideas, new venture. Ultimately, the next part where we want to come and play from a PIDA Bharti is to say, you have built and strengthened the idea. Can I help you think from your a different lens perspective? Can you look at export as your first leg of growth? And fundamentally, given the work that Apida, Bharti, and I have done in the last, along with Dr. Tamanna, we realize that the linkages are something that we need to build on to complement the existing strategies of all SAUs, all incubator accelerator programs, whether private sector or public sector, because our traditional focus, for some reasons, and not that it is not a valid focus, is been building and leveraging two distinct propositions. One is your large e-commerce led growth connectivity, which is, if you see, 99% of new products which are coming in the agri-food category today are designed on a D2C model, in the D2C lens. The second part is we are all looking at the fact that the Indian population is itself going through a change and shift. There is a demographic shift. Today, 60% of people are, what I would call the Gen Zs, Gen Ys. They are under 30, under 40. There are convenience seekers. There are people who are no longer living in a structured family setup. They're living in, standalone mode. They're living out of families. They're migrating to different cities. So their taste and their lifestyle is evolving and changing. They are looking at solution to the lifestyle. Most of our products that we have done caters to this, and it's a great starting point. And therefore, I will take on from where Dr. Tamanna left. She gave you the agenda saying, why we create for India. It's a great, that's a valid testing ground. It's a valid ground to build scale. If you have achieved an MVP and a scale, can we look at working through institutions like Manage and identifying, or rather helping reach out to startups which have already done a product idea, they have already tested in India, they have already deployed it in some market, if it is a solution for technology or SPS issues that the Indian ecosystem faces. And then from that point of time, can I look at it MVP and scale ready, MVP and commercialized, or MVP followed by commercialization or pre-commercialization? Can I take it forward and then build the entire export mindset? What if you look at the entire shift in the way we are going in the last 3 to 4 years across industry is building that whole proposition of Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is self-reliant India, and the Vikshit Bharat, which is a growing economy. But the entire focus, why leaders like Dr. Tamanna are driving home this point, is can we build ourselves on an export first proposition? And I wanted to qualify that further from where Dr. Tamanna left, saying the genesis of this program is to design India's growth ecosystem on an export leg. Now, if I have to take an export leg, I wanted to first qualify, as Dr. Tamanna rightly said, under APIDA, the mandate is to support agri-food product for the 15 scheduled category, and that is available on APIDA scheduled product list on the APIDA site. So APIDA continues to support for the last 4 decades agri export or agri food exports. So the traditional exporters who've been there, they all leverage APIDA's institutional strength to export out. Now we build on that layer, one distinct layer to look at scale ready and MVP qualified organizations who could fit the export charter. So normally, why am I taking this first? So that, I saw a lot of questions on the chat group, which helped me change the maybe the flow of conversation. I would encourage all of you to first see where are you in your growth journey. And first, from an APIDA Bharti lens. So where are you in a growth journey? What product are you solving for in terms of an agri-food mandate? And if you're solving for an agri-food mandate and there are other 2 categories, where are you in that segment? And if you reach this stage, can I then leverage? So how do I know more about the APIDA Bharti program? So what we have done, taking that as a starting point, we put a very simple, we've understood the needs of our ecosystem, and we've also been working for the last 4 weeks. Can you all see my screen? Usha ma'am and others, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. So if you can see, once we conceptualize this program working with a lot of stakeholders, we first decided that we need to make this program be clearly understood by our desired participants group. So we put a very comprehensive website, which is almost formed like an instruction manual. It is not a typical website. It is like you can a small manual which tells you almost on a self-assessment basis. Do I qualify for the Bharati program of APIDA? What does it require for me to be participating or applying for this program? What product categories are we looking to solve for? How is APIDA Bharati going to screen us? So a comprehensive website has been designed. It will not take, the way website has been designed is like a quick read, not taking more than 20 minutes. So my first request is, dear participants, please spend 20 minutes. It's a good weekend to go through and familiarize through the Bharti program. And you can clearly see how the efforts of Manage are being complemented by Bharti program. So the way it is structured, you will have the objectives of the program as to what is this doing to us. I'm just taking you through the website so that you're familiar as to what we are trying to achieve. So first part is obviously, what is the objective of this program? You need to know what is APIDA solving for. The second, you will look at what is the focus area. So we spoke about 3 types of companies that we are looking at, because we want to build the linkages. So one is high value and innovative agri-food products. So the definition of high value and innovative product is given here. Some example man showed you from the Amazon list. Today, if you are doing a makhana and adding a salt on it, makhana is a focus category. But if you are saying that I will build a startup where there are 200 other startups already existing and I will add flavored salt, or I will make it a peri peri sauce, or it may not qualify as a high value and agri. These will anyway continue to get support if you're scale ready from APIDA. But from a Bharati lens, I want you to say, if I take makhana, what does not exist in market? What I can create for the Indian market and the global market? Can I create something out of makhana, which is not in the form that is exist today? Can I enhance that from a nutrific value? Can I do other ancillary product categories out of it and then build it? Imagine 3-4 years back when the ready to eat came in, ready to eat pastas, ready to eat sauce, even you have ready to eat gravy paste. That was innovative and novel at that point of time. Today many people are doing me too. Millets, similarly 2 to 3 years back when millet became a big thing, everybody said millets, quinoas. First they started packaging under brands, then you started creating products out of it, which is like millet noodles, millet soups, millet idlis. So those products exist. And if your product is a little more than what that is being done, because a startup fundamentally is not doing more of the same thing. A startup means there is a market, there is an opportunity, there is for a way for me to differentiate and create something new. The premise of startup is to create something new. So again repeating, we will continue to support through APIDA all the initiatives which is happening, which is export focused. But Bharati will start looking at it. Where are you different? Where are you unique? So my suggestion is, respected leaders at Manage and my dear participants, please go through this page. It will qualify the definition in a very simple manner, saying who are the people who can apply, what are we looking at, definition of an innovative and high value product. Everything we have defined so that participants are clear and they are not, and in which category. So they are not having any confusion. What is APIDA going to look at? Point number one, that is from agri-food category. Then we said, if we are looking at agri-food category, there are still two challenges we are going to face. One is the export value chain in India still has a lot of issues. Those issues could be logistic issue, it could be packaging issue, it could be quality issue, it could be perishability issue, it could be traceability issue, it could be export finance issues, it could be multiple issues to do. How do we optimize our supply chain? Therefore, we said, if we are going to build an ecosystem on new products for food, can we look at export challenges being solved through solution areas which may be nascent or non-existent, or where we need interventions? And these people also, if we groom, this becomes twofold objective. Somebody designing a digital marketplace or a traceability solution, I can take it and help it link to all the exporters on the APIDA system. So look what is happening. People who create this solution have already under managed created an MVP or have created a commercial solution, but they are struggling because they don't know who to connect with. You have a ready set of APIDAs, exporters who can use them. Point number one. Why only APIDA's exporter? We will tell you, look, your solution has a great potential for export use case. Why don't you try and see if you can export your solution while solving for Indian market? Can you solve for the challenge of a Ghana based exporter? He may be looking at a cheap solution. Can you solve for a Thailand based, because they may not be technologically strong? The second part is, I create a tech-led ecosystem for leverage in India's own market, and also they can be made to focus on the global market. So I have brought the food guy, I brought the technology guy. Both of them, when they start listening to each other, and that is what the program is designed. This program is going to invite 1,000 applications. We are having the program open till 10th of November. The application windows are open, significant people are applying. There is a elaborate screening process. The screening process are all self declared and self explained on the portal as well as in the questionnaires. Once you get screened, then you do a complete questionnaire, which is a first of its kind profiling questionnaire. It is not only talking about your product is only a small part of it, because it is easy to understand if you say I have a makhana with a nutrific value or a low GI makhana. But how are you designed as a business? What are you thinking? How do you want to benefit from Apidas? What are your needs? How are you structured financially? What are the technology you are using? What are the storage capability you build? I will get a sense of your scale, because the moment you say I'm scale ready, MVP ready, I need to also check for it. Great product idea, but is it ready for export now? That's how the questionnaires are designed. The questionnaires are going into a lot of qualitative aspects. The entire design of a questionnaire is a very non-standard that you would have seen. It focuses less on your product in from a detail, but it is also looking at every other thing. How are you structured as an organization? Have you taken loan? Have you had patents? Have you had collaborations? How are you participating in other acceleration programs? So it gives you a huge focus in terms of how do I know where am I export ready. So that is a self-assessment almost. So we take that questionnaire, the first 1,000 questionnaires, screen it through elaborate process, and out of that we will select 200 people for coming and presenting in Delhi on a business challenge where the real validation of your solutions will happen. Post that, there's 120 hours expert led, very focused export acceleration program. So I spoke about what are these program covering. There are 3 areas. Madam already covered that: high value and innovative product, technology led solutions. Then we have SPS challenges. Once you have done, you would also want to know who is eligible to participate. So the definition is there. What is the definition of startup? Who can do? What are the criteria? Everything we have detailed out point by point. If you're a startup, less than 5 years, revenue not exceeding 10 crores, you can participate in this program. If you have export focus, you can program in program. But if you are only packaging your, let's say taking makhana from market, packaging it and sending it out, no, we are looking at one who are typically producer and manufacturers, not somebody who's repackaging or doing trading. So those level of criteria are also defined. If you see, the definition of products is defined, definition of technology problems are defined, definition of solution provider for all the categories that we are looking in SPS challenges provided. Then comes, how do I apply? So the application process is given. So for example, if I open the link for the agri-food startup, you can see there is a screening questionnaire. And what are the screening criteria? These are the main 6 criteria, so that you see whether I qualify or not. There are 8 questions. So name of the individual, contact number. When you are answering that, name of the entity, you go to the next page and you will see there are questions. If you meet any of the questions you negate, you automatically get screened out. So that, but if you clear, you get into the main questionnaire. So to that level, we have also defined it. Then the steps are there. It is a 3-step process. First, you have to apply. Then you have to obviously register with APIDA to take the benefit of your process around the exports. And then you have to provide supporting documents which are also uploaded. So that is the third part of it. Now, everything we have put, that if you are a startup, after submitting, what are the documents you need to upload. There is a document submission form also. It is available on the main questionnaire form. It is also available on the website also. So you can go ahead and then apply, saying if you are a startup, after you have completed the form, do it. This will allow us to validate once you have been shortlisted. This is a proof of. Then what we do, if you are a FPC, because we have opened this for FPC, what are the profile of FPC? You need to also put it. You also need to put your corporate presentations so that we are clear. Then you look at the part on SPS. We said we made a SPS mostly research led. A lot of people are in the research stage. So for this, there is no requirement for you to get into a PIDA membership to start with, and you don't need to be registered as company. If you are a researcher, innovator, solo or self-employed entrepreneur, or a startup, you can also apply. So whichever category you are applying, there is a form for that. Eligibility criteria I have given. I have also said clear how to apply. So everything we have explained. Now you would also want to know what is the structure of this program. If you are talking about Bharti, what is the structure of the program? What is about Bharti? This program structure will tell you what is the application window, How is the screening and shortlisting done? So screening and shortlisting criteria are given for each. If you are an agri-food guy, what is the screening and the criteria? Then these are some of the things we are checking for each criteria, so that you are clear. It is a transparent process. The questionnaires are designed like this. We will check with your product idea and marry with this. So you are absolutely clear, and we have done it. Then there is a business challenge phase. What we will do in the business challenge. Then we have the structured acceleration program as to what are you going to learn. So largely we are going, based on all the information we gathered, there are 4 focus areas that we want to do. First is the focus on product-led growth. We want to invest in the core product idea. Most of you have a product, but you don't know how to make the product hero, how to test that product for export market, how to really market your product. Most good ideas in India are failing because they are taking the known path, saying I will do Facebook, I will do Instagram. No, there are ways to look at it beyond the export lens. This is to look at from how do I build an export lens focus. Now the other challenge happens, not everybody gets funded. If you get funded, then you are not able to survive. Startup mortality in India is the highest in the world. Most startups don't survive beyond 3 to 5 years. I don't want to build and nurture a startup which does not have a life of its own, because then it will impact my export. It will impact my export outcomes. It will impact my export focus. So we want to tell you, look, build a product, but build a company which is stable, scalable, sustainable. Stable, scalable, sustainable. How do you invest in the critical part of growth? Most startups are today struggling with this part, then, because the focus is always on the product idea. Beyond that, how do I build? We've done 2 parts. We've validated your product from an export lens. We've told you an export market focus. We've told you how to survive. Then we are saying, here is the entire export module of about 40 hours, which we will build on hugely required aspect of understanding how to manage export. That's the process part we invest in. Finally, this program will also attempt you, well, there's no guarantee of funding and all. We want to make you investor ready, because we are also realizing that a lot of you, how do you use your export focus to build a value proposition, which is investor? Can we get investors? Can we help you be more prepared? This you may be getting covered in different programs, but we will try and bring a practical aspect which is not present and complement it. And we will also ensure that you are able to recreate your business plans, your export plans, your financial models, and then are able to pitch to exporters, are able to pitch to the organizations which may be interested in funding you, taking it forward. So your journey at Manage, it reaches you at one level. On top of it, we build an export focus and then help you build. You are only strengthening your case for surviving, scaling, sustaining, and also getting funded. That's how the whole program has been designed. Ma'am also spoke about the benefits, which we have anyway articulated. What is the benefit? So as I said, every bit of questions that you want is defined here. Now, the one thing that you will also have, we have also put your terms and conditions, we have also put your FAQs. So go through each of them and get familiar with what we are trying to offer. So this is the design of APIDA's Bharati program. It is a first of its kind initiative, and this is the first cohort batch. On this, APIDA will build further on the design of Bharati. On this, APIDA there will be a lot of learning involved. We'll also understand. So our questionnaires are also designed to understand where are you operating? What is the level of expectation and engagement? How can we better? APIDA is in parallel trying to align other areas of support. This is one from a content acceleration, a structured acceleration program, but there'll be market linkages which APIDA will also bring towards you. So that in brief, given that we are at 12 o'clock in this original plan, you heard the genesis of this program, the Indian export context, the opportunity for growth, which Dr. Tamanna said, and in the last 20 minutes, I brought you to the design of APIDA's Bharati, so that you are able to understand from when I learn from Manage, how do I take myself forward? Where do I go in terms of specifically building myself? Because exports are a huge market, and I can tell you with a lot of experience that if you understand the export market, And I will briefly touch upon a area because obviously for shortage of time we may not be able to cover. Today, Indians are global citizens. Every country has some level of Indian representative population. Indian representative populations are very well connected with their roots back home because most of us are going from middle class families, low middle class families, first generation families. So there is a huge need for food, especially given Indians are vegan or vegetarian. They prefer to be connected with the roots. They have a need for their local appams, the local idlis, local sambas, and they're not experimenting with Indian palates because when they were in India, they are used to getting things, whether from an Amazon or a grocery shop, a lot of things which they want to build further. So the Indian diaspora focus export orientation is what the program will cover, and that is an area in itself. In fact, one of the things that I have been doing in the last few months, I was telling Usha ma'am across NIAM and other institutes, is telling how do you go and understand the science of diaspora marketing, because diaspora marketing is a science. It is an important part of your GTM. So if selected for the program, that will be an important area that we will try and cover. So in brief, this is what we wanted to expose on basis the request from sir who's present here and his team, who said that we should take yesterday's conversation forward and align all of you with this great initiative so that together with support from manage and the intervention manage is driving, we can then take the leg further through the export orientation which government is planning to do through APIDA and give you a stable, scalable, sustainable. I will stop here. If there are specific questions, I have answered questions by explaining the website. I see questions like makhana-based milk and all. See, on the face of it, if there is no makhana-based milk and you're like, so a lot of people have started making today soya milk, almond milk. So yes, makhana milk, but you will have to look at it. Is anybody else doing makhana milk? What can I do with different with the makhana milks? All those things will get covered. These are very specific questions. I see free trade agreement and export incentive, but this will be covered on our export modules in the acceleration program. So this is a separate topic in itself, and Dr. Tamanna is an expert in this area from the government. She heads the GDPO. But I wanted to bring to you that through the conversation I've had for the last 20 minutes, I hope I've given you a flavor of what is to expect and how you can self-evaluate whether you are ready for this program and therefore go and apply. So I will pause here, sir, and I hope, Doctor, that I made sense and your startups found it the benefit. I can spend another 10 minutes if there are very specific program level questions, not generic questions like makhana milk and all, because as I said, that will get addressed through the websites itself. But anything else that I need to cover, I could cover in the next 10 minutes that I have. I'll pause here, everybody.
Thank you, Zubin sir, for the excellent presentation. Your session on the Bharati program of EPIDA was really, truly helpful. You clearly explained its objectives, focus areas, and who are eligible for this program and the initiatives that is aimed to strengthen the India's agri export ecosystem. It was inspiring to understand how this program creating new opportunities for the startups and entrepreneurs to participate in the global value chain. So the participants, if you have any questions regarding the both sessions, you can keep in chat box and also you can raise your hands. So the questions will be taken up now. So, yeah, few people have raised the hand. I'll unmute them. Abhinav Sharma.
Yes, hi. Thanks, Dr. Sarvanan and managed team for arranging this. Just wanted to give a brief introduction, and I have a specific question for Mr. Jubin as well. We're a startup by the name of Pure Farm Project, written in French, obviously, as the name suggests. With the tagline being, we're all about consciously sourcing and passionately crafting our products. And we have developed a probiotic enriched line of functional food products with millet as one of the key ingredients. And we are trying to help the marginal farmer out by ensuring complete seed to fork traceability for our products. So through a simple scan of a QR code, if you are consuming our millet-based protein bar, you can see the origins of the millet right from the seed that were procured in a new tree hub, IIM or Hyderabad, to the final product that is there in your hand in the package form. we have developed products which are falling in the nutraceutical categories, and in terms of commercialization, we are ready. But just wanted to understand, Mr. Jubin, what do you mean by scale? If you were to say
So
that,
let me
can we
answer the
export
question because
1-ton products
no.
today? No.
So if you believe that you all are in startups, so you understand MVP and commercialization. If you, and I'm not putting a threshold on commercialization. There is only a threshold on revenue and the number of years your organization need to exist. But by whatever I have heard you so far, you are eligible for applying for this program very clearly. One, I will explain using your example why. You are doing a value-add product. It is innovative product. You have done two things. One, you are taking functional food as a category and taking a ingredient or element and building on. So for everybody's benefit, we will take the gentleman's product and explain why it is eligible. One, it is a value addition. Clearly, all of you understand. He's brought to some level of innovation. He's building the technology integration. So, is this a product? So, there will be two logical questions. Should he apply under the category of technology, or should he in agri-food? He has to apply in category of agri-food. Why? Because one, he's definitely 100% qualifies for the criteria we are marked, and because he's using technology, there's a further value addition. If you answer the questionnaire and above, you will see that the questionnaire itself will help you answer. There is no threshold of revenue I'm saying is required, though I will see what level of revenue you have done. But it is not, that is one of the factors, but that is not the only factor. So when I look at scale, if you have been in existence for 5 years, I'll give you an example. And in 5 years, you made only, let's say, you've done some bit of commercialization, but your sale in India is, let's say, only 5 lakhs rupees. Then I will try and see whether it is actually scale ready and what can we do to make it export ready. So that qualitative check you will. But whether I can apply, I would say please use the weekend and apply, because it sounds very, very interesting on the face of it. And I definitely can tell you as the program head that this meets the criteria.
Yeah, we are just 1 month ago launched as far as market readiness is concerned on platforms like Amazon, Flipkart. But
then it
1 year
automatically
of
means
research
you are
has gone
post MVP. See, it automatically means you're post MVP. You have started commercialization, and I'm not putting a revenue check. I will check for that. There is an element when you say you will go and see what is your revenue last year. These are all contributing factors. See, we have put 20 criteria for looking at your product totality. I will make a preliminary assessment, Anubhav. Key one, yep, this product is unique or not. Immediately, because as a program designer, we can tell that this is unique. It is of interest. So one tick mark is done. You apply, you will screen it, because I can see easily you will be meeting all the criteria or export focus. You have already crossed MVP. But will I disqualify because you're only 5 lakhs of revenue? Answer is no. But will I consider 5 lakh as a revenue in a qualification criteria? Yes, there is a different weightage given to it. So primary, we are looking at how unique the product is, how big the market is, because that data we have by market. Because APIDA, you cannot get better than APIDA when it comes to market data, demand for product. There anywhere, APIDA is driving initiative on the makhanas of the world, the nutritional products of the world. So we know there is a requirement. But 5 lakhs of revenue is not going to be a deterrent for you. We will know that it's an early stage company. It is getting ready for scale, and it can be built further. And maybe you are a perfect guy to take and build an export first revenue. See, there are choices, right? You can grow domestically, you continue growing domestically. But the product sounds, right fit. So, can we build an export first mindset, and can we work? We give Anubhav and people like Anubhav the input saying, how do you look at export and grow early in the export sector? That's the object. I hope I clarified it with a simple example.
Yes, that's very helpful. Thank you.
And this, thank you, Anubhav. I must thank you first, because this question should clarify anybody like Anubhav, because he brought in 3 important aspects. He brought in the definition, what we are looking at it. And I'm lucky that Anubhav was here and he could give a perfect example. So that is the number one. How he is thought beyond what is available. Or rather, there could be very few players doing it. So clearly, functional, focus area. In product innovation, already covered. Building technology from traceability, that's a huge thing, because that is a technical barrier to trade issues getting addressed. So he's brought that whole thing. So eligibility wise is done. But when I compare, there are nationwide 1,000 applications. Now I will have to look at it so that Anubhav is clear. Because of this, does he get automatically selected for this batch? No, because there could be another 100 people who may be doing something which is a greater value add, where APIDA's leadership team will look at it. Yes, Anubhav's product is good. We will support him in other aspects of APIDA. But through Bharati, let's take us the first 100 products where we see high potential, high probability, high export demand. So your attempting a questionnaire is not automatic participation, because there's a screening. Screening is both questionnaire based marking criteria plus when we do our initial shortlisting. 60-degree. Once I've seen your questionnaire, you've done a preliminary screening.
Disconnected.
We then go back and sit. There will be an elaborate process where we will look at each application saying, no, yeah, this looks interesting because we are going to a German market, we have gone to a GCC market, and we know people are going to buy this, and therefore Anubhav's product could be a much better fit. Let us bring him first. So that clarity I want everybody to have. By no means we are discouraging you from innovating. By no means it means that your startup is not important. The program focus of APIDA is somewhere, but APIDA's support. Rajiv ji, who is also very important senior member from APIDA, to tell that APIDA will continue supporting all export-focused organizations. But so there are two things you need to be clear. If not in this batch of APIDA's, maybe in the next batch you're ready, because it's a continuous program. Second, if Anubhav does not get selected to Bharati, does it mean the end of road for export? Answer is no. I would still urge you, please reach out to APIDA, please see what we can do, please become a member of APIDA, and then see how can you leverage the benefit APIDA gives to start growing your export. I hope I have made it clear for everybody. Rajiv ji, since you are here, I will request you to take 2 minutes, because a lot of our participants.
Thank you, sir. Abhinav,
couple of minutes, because Rajiv ji is there, just for him to tell that what APIDA does for exporter as a support. It is very important, because I'm seeing a lot of questions. Since Rajiv ji is representing the headquarters,
yes, sir.
he can keep a 2 minutes understanding so that everybody is clear of how APIDA supports exporter. Rajiv ji, if you can take this 2 minutes and just give an overview of the role of APIDA, and it will be beneficial to our participants.
Yeah, sure. Good morning to all the participants. First of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Sarvanan and the entire managed team for organizing this webinar. This would definitely help reach out to all the prospective startups whom we are looking forward to, I mean, through this Bharati program. And nothing much to explain, but as Dr. Tamanna has rightly emphasized on the need for value addition, need for agro-processing, where India is lagging behind and what the world is looking forward to, the importing country requirements, how we can match those requirements. So through various solutions which we need through these startups and the innovative products, and Jubin sir has already hit the right chord by mentioning about what exactly he has explained the entire process of application, who can apply, how to apply, and nothing much need to be added to that. As far as APIDA is concerned, I would just make it very concise. I mean, it's almost more than 3 decades APIDA has been working under the aegis of Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and it is leading agricultural export promotion body focused on promoting agriculture exports. So our mandate basically is forward linkage. We help in connecting the stakeholders. Our stakeholders are basically the exporters who are registered with us. As on date, we have more than 35,000 exporters, member exporters who are registered with us, and all of them are into exporting agriculture products. The scheduled agriculture products have already been explained in the presentation by Dr. Tamanna. Except for teas, coffee, rubber, spices, marine product, everything else falls under the purview of APIDA. And we basically we also have a financial assistance scheme if any of the exporter or startup gets onboarded to APEDA, he or she is eligible to avail the financial assistance scheme, where we provided back-ended subsidy in the form subsidy for setting up export-enabled infrastructure. Like we help in providing to set up integrated pack houses for fresh fruits and vegetables. We help in providing in setting up the agro-processing units. We also help in setting up the testing labs, in-house testing labs, which are required for residue analysis of all the products, which is one of the norms for meeting the importing countries' requirements. And we also help in forward linkage as far as participation in trade fairs is concerned. I mean, APEDA organizes participation for all its member exporters in more than 20 plus international trade fairs. I mean, we recently finished with Anuga, which is one of the global leading global trade fairs in Europe. And this would be followed by Gulf Food, which is there held every year in the month of Jan and Feb. And this year, I would like to announce that APEDA has been designated as a partner country as far as Gulf Food is concerned. We'll be procuring a much bigger space, and there would be a huge prospect for our member exporters to showcase their products, display their products. And we also help in providing linkage to the global retail chains. I mean, during the recently concluded event called World Food India in Delhi, APEDA, I would like to share that APEDA has signed an MOU with the leading retail group called Lulu Group, which has a presence in all the GCC countries, and which has a presence of around 340 retail outlets in all the GCC countries in Middle East. And through this MOU, I will around 5 agri startups. I mean, out of the 100 which are shortlisted through this Bharati program, 5 would be directly enabled to and directly linked to the Lulu retail chains. And I'm sure they would be able to showcase their products their products will find a shelf space in the Lulu retail outlets in Dubai or Muscat or Qatar. So through this is also one of the benefits, how the startups and exporters can benefit out of this particular Bharti program. So in short, this is what APEDA basically looks forward to. We basically help in promoting the startups and help them enable a forward linkage market as far as agriculture exports is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh sir, for sharing your inputs. And before that, we welcome to our managed webinar series. And it's our pleasure to have you here, sir. So without delay, I would like to take further questions, and I'm going to unmute Varsha.
Ma'am, I will have to leave in 2 minutes, so because I have another engagement, so I can only take one question right now. Others we can write
Sure.
at contact at Bharati. I can put it any questions specific to program.
Sure, sir.
I'm putting the Bharati ID so that people can write to us.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, my name is Varsha and I'm a farmer. We are working in the field of agriculture since last 6 years. And we are doing farming that is residue-free farming, a way between traditional farming and organic farming, where no kind of residues will be in our end product. So are we eligible for this Bharti initiative?
So as I said, I want to make a distinction between agriculture and agri-food. APEDA's focus is agri-food. We are looking at agriculture is the input into agri-food. We all understand there are different government schemes, different ministry, and I will also request Rajiv ji to add to this. But just for everybody's interest, people who are doing farming as a business or an organizational initiative are excluded from the purview of this program. Our job starts when you've taken an agriculture product, created a value-added product. So what
Yes,
you are
sir,
doing is a great part. So if there is a product output in form of that can be exported, you are eligible. But if you are saying that I'm doing a value-added residue fuel farming, am I am I eligible directly from an perspective? Answer is perhaps.
No, sir, we are producing the products, and we are from last 2 months we are giving our products directly to customers. We are into low GI and low gluten flour processing.
So, madam, as I would say, in principle, health food, functional food, low GI product, if you have created a brand and if it is just not given as a packaged food, if it is coming from your own output, if you believe that, because if you are already producing and supplying, it means it is MVP stage past, it is commercially ready, you can apply. Because as on a fundamental level, functional food, health food, low GI are of interest. So yes, you can apply. But I just want to again take your example as a distinction. Farm level inputs are not something we are considering. But if you say within the farm level, I'm solving the problem of, let's say, working on basmati rice and solving an SPS challenge and solving a groundnut aflatoxin challenge, I'm 120% interested because that distinction I want to draw. So that point of time, input is what we are considering because you're solving an input level problem because the value chain gets impacted and how do I preserve it before value chain? Because I cannot solve an aflatoxin problem once it is processed and packaged. I have to possibly look at it maybe earlier. If you can do post-harvest aflatoxin, nothing like it. I'm just giving an example. So farming, no. Farm produce getting sold as commodity or to retailers or to manufacturers, answer is no. But if you are creating something out of it as a manufacturer, answer is yes.
Yes, because the basmati rice, the belt is famous for basmati rice, and we are doing that basmati rice at large scale, but using minimal chemicals and more organic inputs.
So basmati as a category directly is again not eligible because not that it is important for Apida because Bharti is so again I'm saying Apida huge focus on basmati number one.
Understood.
But Bharti, am I going to look at whatever versions of even if it residue free, even if it is very high yielding type of basmati through the program? Answer is no. But if you are saying that hypothetically I create a basmati yield and make a milk out of it, nobody's created a basmati milk, low GI milk. I will come to you in Hyderabad and say, madam, please join the program.
Okay.
I hope I made the distinction, Varshaji.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I understood that. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Varsha. So yeah, we are going beyond 12 o'clock. So I need to conclude the session. So still I'm seeing few more questions in the chat box, but I cannot able to address every question. However, you don't need to worry. You can still reach out to the speakers. Their contact details, mail and phone number also shared in the chat box. You can contact them if you have any doubt. And if you miss any part of today's webinar also, if you want to rewatch it again.
All of you to, if it is pertaining to Rajiv ji, maybe I can request your help. Anything to do with startup interested in Apida's Bharati program, please write to us at Bharati. We are eagerly waiting for your queries input. The forms are so designed that we have not encountered, and we are very proud to say that in the last 4 weeks, we have not encountered any glitch or complaint because the forms are so well thought of. But yes, it is a Google form. So I'm also taking this opportunity to say that each form has an instruction. Please go with the instruction. For example, there are descriptive questions. If you give more than 500 characters with space, it will fail. So those level of things we've already addressed in the question. So by now, we have not seen any questions on glitches. And that is why we are thankful to the team support. Second challenge you may have is whether my product is eligible or not. That is the most common question we get. For that, I will request you first go to the Apida Bharati website. If you are still not clear, you can drop us a mail at Bharati. But if your question is on larger Apida support, I will request my senior colleague Rajiv ji to give a contact email ID, which you can write for Apida's overall support. Rajiv ji, if you can chat in the put it in the chat window for non-Bharati related queries, they can reach to Apida through this.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Sure.
Let Rajiv ji put it here. So my preferred mode is for us in Bharati because we can track all responses.
Sir said you can.
So Rajiv ji will put it in the chat now. So after that, you can close the conference.
Okay, sir. Okay. As sir said, you can contact the mentioned mail in the chat box if you have any doubts regarding this Bharati program. And also, as I said, if you miss any part of this webinar, also you can watch it. The YouTube link is also given in the chat box. And also to stay updated on the coming events and programs and the opportunities from Manage, be sure to follow us on our social media. And before concluding the session, I would like to thank our speaker. Insight today. It's really a you. And also, I would like to thank our director, Dr. Saravanan sir, for organizing this webinar. And also, I would like to thank the entire Manage team for their efforts in organizing the today's session. Finally, don't forget to share your feedback. The feedback link is given in the chat box, and also do register for the upcoming webinar. And see you next week with another topic. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Saravanan, for this opportunity. On behalf of APIDA, we have heartfelt gratitude for extending us the invite.
Thank you, Jubin sir, and thank you, Raju and Madam Tamanna. Nice to see you, all three of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.